くぞ。
What's happening, everybody? Welcome back. This is Fargo, and well, what do we have here today? We have two new buff characters in Ash and Nameless, something that I know a lot of you would be extremely excited for. So let's take a look at what they've done for both these characters, starting with Ash. Now, Ash was already, has some good things going on in his kit. He applies this PG rate to green fighters and increases their attack, which is awesome. He's also a green defensive fighter, and that's really great for RHD because you do need a green defensive team past tier 40. So that's actually really nice. But they actually addressed some issues that this character did have, right? They gave him super armor on his second skill, and that's the skill where he dashes across. That is massive, my friends. That is massive because all he had before was gaining super armor from his kit whenever a certain dot was applied, which they actually improved also. They also gave him a 70% chance to ignore the target's guard upon landing a successful attack. This is actually really great for him because something that Ash always struggled with was breaking guard. He couldn't do it before. People would just guard against him in PvP and they couldn't do anything. So as long as they don't have super armor or hyper armor up, he can actually has a 70% chance of breaking their guard and then being able to combo and go into his skills and start laying waste to them. It's actually a really good. So I'm really happy that they did that for him. And then they also gave him a built-in Leah set on his third skill. 50% chance to reset cooldowns upon a successful attack. He didn't have this before. So this is actually really good. And this is going to reset all of the cooldowns. This is going to reset the first skill and the second skill, and his first skill actually had immunity on it already. So they've actually made him way better than what he was before because now he can actually build up his PG a lot faster because he can actually reset his skills. He'll be doing his skills more often. He's got the ignored guard right now, and also in his core, they did a couple little changes as well. So in his core, they gave, he always had the increased attack equal to 42% of defense in his core. But before it was when he was being attacked. Now it's when he's attacking. So as long as you're attacking and using your skills, you're always going to have this buff. There's no cooldown, nothing like that. You're always going to have it. Whereas before you had to be attacked in order to get this buff. So that's pretty nice. It's actually a sweet little change. And he always had to gain super armor for 5 seconds when attacked while burn, poison, and bleeding. But they added the darkness. So now he can get 5 seconds of super armor whenever darkness is applied. And that does make him better for PvP. It does make him better. And then they also gave him a gains 20% power during 10 or more combos on a 10-second cooldown. So not only did they give him kind of a built-in Leah on his third skill, but he also can gain the power here. So he's going to build up his PG super fast, right? And he will be a much better character than what he was before. He's going to be a much more reliable character than what he was before. He's going to be a lot better in the Immortal Dungeons because now he has that super armor in his kit. He always had really good survivability because of the heal, but a lot of times in the Immortal Dungeons, he'd always get knocked around all over the place. That's gone, my friends. That's gone. I mean, now he's got that super armor, and it's on a low cooldown, so he's not going to get interrupted as often. He's going to be able to build up his kit. And not to mention that he's got like the built-in Leah on his third skill. It's going to reset that super armor skill. He's not going to get interrupted near as often, so he's going to be way better for those dungeons. And he's actually now going to be one of the best leaderships for your green fighters, which is awesome, man. It's so good to see it. Is it over the top? No. No, it's a pretty balanced upgrade. It's not going to, shoot him through the moon, but he will be a threat in maybe KOF Original Week in PvP. Against BS and SS characters, no, there's no way. He's not going to compete against those kinds of characters. They're way too strong with the remove buffs or interrupt skills. Two things that he doesn't have. They're just way too powerful. But is he way better than what he was before? Absolutely. He's a character that now people can use throughout the game and actually enjoy and have a little more fun with. So I'm pretty happy with the upgrades for Ash. Okay, so now let's take a look at Nameless and see what they've done for this character. So for Nameless, they've done, quite a few things. It's pretty damn awesome. One thing they did was they changed this removing strike skills to removing active skills for 3 seconds, which is awesome. So it doesn't matter if they're grab, it doesn't matter if they're strike, blast. He can remove all of their skills for that 3 seconds. and that's going to make him deadlier in PvP. But the thing about this attack is it is a close range attack, so you got to make sure you're fairly close to the target, or just time your attacks very carefully in order to remove their active skills. But this does include their guard, so that's actually much more powerful than what it was before. They also gave him super armor on his second skill, something they didn't have before. And I'm really happy that they did that, because like Ash, he just had super armor in his core effect. And now they actually gave him in his kit, which is actually pretty sweet, or actually on his skills. So it's much more reliable than what it was before. It's going to keep him from getting interrupted as much as what he did before, which is pretty cool. And they also gave him an increased attack by 27% for 7 seconds. This is going to make him a lot stronger for PvE content. So I'm really happy to see that. As far as his cores, they did change a couple little things here. Before, he had an obtained 5% power upon landing a critical hit, okay? And what they've done is, instead of a critical hit, they changed it to landing an attack. Now, the thing that I want you all to note about this is what people would do back in the day in PvP, is they would attack their opponents, and even if they were guarding, you could still do critical hits and still build up your PG. So what they would do is they try to build up Nameless's 3 PG and just do it, because if you were playing with Nameless, you could do your 3 PG and just murder afterwards, right? He would just destroy everybody. And because they took away the critical hits, he's not going to build up his PG as fast as what he could before, because even if opponents were guarding against him and he did critical hits, he would build up his PG faster. And this doesn't say guard included. So he's going to have to land an attack in order to get this obtained 5% power. He's going to have to interrupt your skills, catch them off guard in order to gain it. So in a way, it's kind of a nerf, but they did give him more penetration. The penetration was 650 for 5 seconds. That stacked up to 3. Now it's 800. So they gave him more damage in that respect. And then on his isolate effect, before he had a 25% chance to gain super armor. Now he has a 50% chance to gain super armor for 4 seconds. So not only did they give him the super armor in his kit, but they also gave him a higher increased chance to gaining super armor from his core, which means he's not going to get interrupted near as often. It's going to make him way better for PvE. But just like Ash, my friends, don't think that these buffs for Nameless or even Ash is going to make them OP. I think in KOF Original Week, they're going to be way stronger than what they was before, for sure. Might even be a threat. But as far as during All-Star Week and Championship against BS, SS, and collaboration characters, no. They're not going to compete against those kind of characters. It's just not going to happen, man. They got interrupt skills. They got remove super armor, hyper armor. They just got a lot of things going on in their kit. But these buffs that they gave Nameless and Ash, they are good buffs. They are substantial buffs, and I'm personally pretty happy with it. I think they're pretty well balanced. They're not making them super freaking OP and over the top, but they made them way stronger than what they was before. And something that I want to show all of you right now is, before we got this little update here, I actually did a little damage test with Nameless in Dungeon of Trials. And I'll go ahead and put it up on the screen for you. Before he had these buffs, I was able to hit 9,789,000 with the current build that I have on him right now. I'm running a KS set, right? Whatever imprint stones. So I'll show you what kind of damage he does now, because he actually got those increased attack buffs, right? He's got the increased attack by 27% now. So how much more damage can he do now than what he could before? All right. And remember, the higher level your character is awakened, the more CP that they have, the more attack that they have, the more of a gain that you're actually going to get from having this attack buff. Right. This is a damage multiplier. So we'll go ahead and switch to Nameless here. Turn that auto crap off. All right, here we go. And we'll just wait for the awakened skill to go off, and I'll show you guys what kind of damage we did. I wish I would have recorded that run for you all. There we go. And man, look at how fast he built up that 3 PG. That's crazy. But he's landing an attack, that core passive's kicking in right there. And we already hit 9.9 million. We already beat the score that he did before he got these buffs. All right. And we'll go ahead and guard here and see what we got. So, we did 11 million, right? Almost 11.2 million, which is, that's a substantial upgrade compared to what he had before. He's going to be stronger. He's going to have a lot more damage. Ash is going to be way more reliable. Neither one of them are going to get interrupted near as often as what they did before. They both got really substantial buffs, right? I'm personally pretty happy with them. I never wanted these guys to get super OP buffs. They don't They don't need to be in that BS/SS range, at least in my opinion. There's a reason why we spend our rubies on those SS and BS and collaboration banners, because those characters are super, super OP. If they make characters like that super, super OP in the game, then people are going to be less incentivized to spend their rubies on banners. They're just not going to do that. I mean, we could get an SS and BS versions of Nameless and Ash. That could very well happen, and I do think it will happen in the future because of the popularity of both these characters. So I wouldn't get too upset or too angry about the buffs if you're not happy with them, because I guarantee you both these characters, both these characters are going to get love in the future, because more than likely they're probably going to get other versions of them. Now, the next thing that I want to bring to your attention is in this shop here. They got a buff celebration shop here. Now, they got these deals where you can spend 2,500 rubies for Nameless, and you can get a memory for him, or actually get 600 souls for him, and you can just level him all the way up. I personally would not recommend doing this. I would not. You get free summons in United Banner. We get free tickets all the time for those banners. I would just gradually pull through those banners to get whatever characters by lucky RNG. Save your rubies for BS, SS, and collaboration characters. I would not recommend doing this. Even if you were a new player, I would still recommend saving your rubies and pulling in the SS, BS, and collaboration banners. Those characters are so OP that it's not even funny. Seriously, a 1-star SS or BS character can do as much damage as a 3-star United Banner character. They are OP. So this is not something that I would recommend. Even though Nameless, even with his buffs, is a lot better, I still wouldn't recommend it. And then you can spend 5,000 rubies for this. Now, there's an argument to be made here, not so much really for the memory or the experience bottles or even these purple elemental fest memories here. It's the stone. This stone gives you double attack for nest fighters, and then it gives you a decreased damage received. The reason this stone's pretty OP is because it is almost impossible getting double attack moonstones. It is. Like, you can get an HP stone maybe if it's a gold stone, but a lot of times if you're lucky you'll just get like an attack and then maybe with a dot. These here give you double attack and a decreased damage received. They're going to add an insane amount of CP to your nest fighter. So it might be worth it for some of you. I personally don't think it's worth it. I mean, because again, you really would want to save your rubies for the BS and SS collaboration banners. And it's really going to be the same thing for Ash. I have the same opinion about this. I would just think you're better off just to pull in the United Banner. I wouldn't spend your rubies on this. I mean, if you're in a hurry, you want to get these characters, you want to try to get a leg up, I guess you could, but it's not something that I would recommend. However, this stone here is actually a lot better than the other stone, because this stone applies to any fighter in the game. I mean, you're going to get an extra 20% attack with this stone for any character in the game. It's going to apply to any of them, which is pretty OP. That's pretty damn OP. So whether or not it's worth 5,000 rubies is really up to you. I personally, again, I mean, 5,000 rubies, that's a good amount of rubies. I personally would pass up on it. I'm glad that Kofa's is putting things like this in the game for like all the free-to-play players to be able to get it. It's just, I think it's still a bit pricey. I think it should be dropped down a notch. But I mean, honestly, this stone is a good stone. This is a really, really powerful stone. And it is something to think about. I mean, when I look at this stone, I think, man, if I had that on Leona, that'd be pretty nice. But I mean, I already have an attack with a lot of extra burn damage on her, and I actually think I'd be better off with that than this. And maybe you're in the same kind of situation. It's really going to be up to you whether or not you want to purchase these kinds of things. I personally think that you should pass on it and save your rubies for BS, SS, and collaboration banners, but it's completely up to you. So let me know how you're all feeling about the buzz for Ash and Nameless. Let me know what you're all thinking about those deals in the shops. And I do stream on Twitch at 9 p.m. GMT+7 time. The link is in the description below. And I hope you enjoyed the video. Thank you for watching. Y'all take care and have a good one. See ya.